Where to start? So the first thing I learned was actually about food because I was really worried, to be honest, because I read the White Handbook, and it's all like, be sure if like food's in short supply and not to eat all the food. And so the way that Filipinos eat, okay, is you'll go into their house and they'll tell you to eat, right? If they'll be eating, they'll just tell you to eat. You don't even have to be in their house. So you'll be like, kain, which is like, come eat. And so if they do it once, it's just like being nice, right? They're just saying, oh, eat because we're eating. And so if they just say it once, just be like, no, like it's okay, like, no, it's fine. And if they tell you again, like, it's kind of up to you. Like if you're really hungry, go for it. Otherwise, just be like, no, it's okay. But if they keep insisting, and then it'd be polite to eat with them. And then usually what they do, if they know you're coming over, what they'll do is they'll keep food in the back for their family, and then they'll bring food up for you. So they'll kind of separate the food. But also you have to have your wits kind of, because sometimes they'll just bring out all the food. Because a lot of times they didn't eat with us. They would just like, we would eat and then they would eat separately after we were done. But yeah, so that's something I learned really quick because I was actually really worried I was going to eat all their food. And my companion's like, no, man, it's okay. They have food in the back. And I was like, oh, sweet. Like, it's all good. And then we had a lot of people invite us to eat, but it's just like a polite thing to do, invite you to eat. So Filipinos, they'll give you the clothes off their back, literally the food's out of their mouths. There's actually a story. It's a lot funny like a lot more funny in Tagalog, but it's like, so there's these two missionaries, and it's actually about missionaries, which is funny. We're like going up through the mountains, and they were hiking all day, and so it was like really tired and really hungry. Missionaries eat a lot of food. And so they get to this house in the bukid, is what it's called, it's like the middle of nowhere kind of thing. And this family was getting ready to eat. So they had rice, and they had one fish for the whole family. And so it's actually kind of a sad story, but it's a funny story, like if you're Filipino. So they come in and they're like, oh, eat, and they're like, okay, so they start eating, and the kids are upstairs. And then, when you eat the fish, you have to like flip it over. And so they flip it over, and then like the kids are like, oh, biniliktad na, or like they flipped over the fish, like it's half gone. And then so like the missionaries like heard the kids upstairs saying that, and they're like, oh, like we'd shake half their food. So I mean, kind of a funny story. It's kind of sad in English, funny in Tagalog, but yeah, so I mean that's kind of describes it. But other than that, holidays, they love Easter. Easter is a week long. It's they do parades. They have a day on like Friday, that Friday before nobody's like allowed to pretty much go outside and do sports and stuff. Or like if you're Catholic, they have a huge parade on Saturday, I think, or is it Friday as well? I forget which one, but huge parades where they have floats and they have like all the saints and stuff. Another thing about that whole week is just crazy, and it's great though. It's a good week. And then Christmas starts in September. So that's a good thing to know. It's called the Ber months. So like if it ends with Ber, so September through December is Christmas. So a third of the year is Christmas. So when you hear Ber months, it's not because it's cold, it's just because it ends with Ber. I didn't figure that out until I was like over halfway through my mission. Like, oh, the Ber months. I'm like, but it's not even cold. They're like, Elder, like it's Ber, like September, and like, got it. So yeah, so there's that. Christmas is way long. They love Christmas. I love Christmas. I now start Christmas in September, like to be honest, like it's Christmas right now. So yeah, for holidays and events and stuff, they usually, like especially birthdays, they eat pasta. So spaghetti and pancit is what it's called. So their spaghetti there is sweet, and they have hot dogs in it. So it's a little bit different than ours. And it's funny because I made normal, like not normal spaghetti, American spaghetti, I guess, for my companion and my housemates once. And they're like, this is trash. They're like, like it's so sour is what they said. They're like, it's sour because it tastes like tomatoes instead of sugar. So it's kind of funny. It's like Elf. That's how I imagine it. When he gets like the noodles and like pours syrup and stuff in it. But it's not that sweet. But yeah, so I mean, they'll always have like pasta, some kind of pasta during like holidays or birthdays, things like that. Also for the culture, they love karaoke. So everywhere, karaoke. So if you can't sleep because somebody's doing karaoke, get used to it. You're gonna hear it a lot. My favorite's when people are drunk and doing karaoke. That's the best. They have no shame. They're just like, they just go hard. And so karaoke's a great thing. In our mission in San Pablo, you're not supposed to sing karaoke. At least that was with my mission president. So I mean, they'll like, hey, do some karaoke, and you just like have to politely tell them no. But yeah, other than that, Philippines is great, especially the culture. I love the culture there, and the holidays. They just love the holidays, and they'll literally have a holiday like every month, at least once a month, because any excuse to party is it's valid. So, so I love Filipino food, to be honest. Like adobo, I still eat adobo. Like I make Filipino food at my house and stuff. It's like adobo, lumpia, which is like little meats or things wrapped in, it'd be like rice paper and then like deep fried. Way good. It's awesome. So they have a whole bunch of good food. Rice will be with every meal. It's, if you're not eating rice, it's not considered a meal, is the way it works. It's just a snack. Like burgers and stuff, that's a snack. There's no rice. So also the burgers are different. Because like if you go to Angel's Burger, it's like unang kagat, tinapay lahat. So it's like, it's all bread pretty much. And there's like a little bit of meat. It's kind of funny. So that's like they're saying like unang kagat, tinapay lahat. Or like the first bite you take, it's just going to be bread. So, but yeah, so I mean the food's different. If you want to get like American food, it's all like Filipino American, right? Just like how in America we call Chinese food, like Panda Express isn't Chinese food. It's not real Chinese food. It's like American Chinese food. It's the same thing there. So like if you go out to get American food, it's going to be like Filipino American kind of thing. It's like with burgers, with spaghetti, things like that. And pizza, same stuff. But the food there is just, I think it's great. I love it. Depending on where you are, it's going to differ though, because in pretty much every different culture in the Philippines, they have like a different kind of adobo. So they're like, oh, this is adobo, and then one day you'll eat it and it'll be like kind of salty, and the next day you'll eat adobo and it'll be sweet, because those two different families will be from two different parts of the Philippines, right? And then some people use a lot more like spices in there. So not spices, like spicy stuff, like sili is what it's called. They're like miniature chili peppers, like this big, and if you just eat it, it'll just scorch you and kill you. But other than that, those are kind of like the basic foods you'll eat. One of my favorite dishes is called laing, which is laing. It's how do you say in English? It's like leaves from a plant called gabi, and it's like the leaves, and it's like pretty bitter, and then they put milk in it, and they can put fish in it and things like that, and they kind of like mix it together and like roast it. It's really good. It all goes with rice, so you'd eat it with rice. That's one of my favorites. That, and then sinigang. That's awesome. At first, when I first had sinigang, I was like, what is this? Because it's like sour, like it's sour soup. Like the sabaw or the soup is like really sour. So first you're like, what? But it's really good. I love it. And then one of the things that everybody always talks about is balut. So balut, right? It's the duck egg that has been fertilized, and they wait like 17 days, and then they boil it. So it's like partially developed. And at first, I had it on my first day in the Philippines, and not a smart idea. But like I ate it and I was just like, whoa, like that was crazy. And I think I just wasn't adjusted yet, so I was like, I got pretty sick. But
because the culture is honestly amazing. I love the culture. It fits my personality perfectly. Lord knew exactly what he was doing when he put me in the Philippines. Like, the thing about the Filipinos is they love to laugh, love to joke. They love teaming up on people, making fun of people, I swear. Like, it was always the greatest when, like, you're sitting in a room and all the Filipinos, like, team up on somebody else. Everyone's making fun of them. You're just sitting there laughing. But, you know, so they love to team up on you if you're an American, because you're obviously the odd one out. So, like, there'd be, like, 4 Filipinos all just, like, teaming up, just making fun of me, calling me fat, telling me I look like a pig. There's not really that big of an insult there. Like, you can call people fat, it's no big deal. But it was fun, though. The culture's a blast. I loved it. It fit my personality absolutely perfectly. Food in the Philippines is actually delicious. It's like one thing I was terrified about when I got my call. Like, I don't know why. Like, my impression of Filipino food was probably like spicy stuff, but they don't really have that many spicy stuff. It's more of like, just like, I don't know, just not spicy. But it's like really good food. Like you have like classic chicken adobo or chicken curry, and eat everything with rice. And rice is amazing. To this day, I still love rice. Probably my favorite food though was it's hard to choose. So many good Filipino dishes. Probably this dish called sinigang. Sinigang na baboy was way good. Um, it's pretty much like this sour-ish. It is sour, like sour tasting soup. Has like a bunch of vegetables in it, like okra, and radishes, and this Filipino stuff called kangkong. Has like bits of pork in it. It is like the greatest thing ever. It's so good. I miss it so much. Like every time I would like plan like a dinner at a member's house, they're just like, "What do you want to eat out here?" I'm just like sitting on. That's it. Tons of rice, sitting on. It's like the greatest thing ever. I love it. I miss it. My mouth is like watering. Um, Another thing is this place called Mang Inasal. Oh, it's like this restaurant, right? You go in there, you get like this chicken breast, right? And then you get unlimited rice. And it is like the greatest thing ever. Like it's all over the Philippines, but like you always have like you and your missionaries have like missionary friends of competitions on who can eat the most rice. Most I did was 7 cups. I was pretty filled after that. We had one elder in our mission do 16 cups. And that was pretty wild. And on the jeepney ride home, he's like, "Yeah, I'm kind of still hungry." Just like, it was ridiculous. But yeah, Manginasal is the best. It's I'm pretty sure you'll go. Like it's like the missionary destinations, Manginasal.
I definitely love the Philippines. The people are really great, even though the culture is like completely opposite from America. I really love it. Their lifestyle's so simple. They just have a simple lives. They're always happy. Doesn't matter what they have or they don't have. They're just willing to share with people. They're very kind. They're really easy to talk to. Usually you can talk to them even if they don't want to listen to you. They'll still talk to you at least for a little bit. And basically everyone has a belief in Christ. Different religions, different beliefs. But it's great to be able to just open up any conversation. You can just talk about Christ. They have like Christ on their like jeepneys and on their tricycles. Everyone's very religious, which makes missionary work sometimes a little easier, sometimes not, because sometimes they're very firmly embedded in their beliefs. But they're very kind people. They're willing to share with the missionaries their food. They'll help you like with language. You can ask them how to cook stuff. They'll tell you. They're very nice, humble people.
The culture is great. The Filipinos are the best, I think, in the world. They have, because they're a third world country, they're very humble and very nice. And because they're also humble and they live in such humble circumstances, they're willing to share the world with you. And even though the world may not seem like a lot to somebody coming from out of their country, it's a lot to them. One of the cultural things is Filipinos will never eat the last thing on the plate. Like if you have some food out, they'll never eat the last rice. They'll always leave it for somebody else because they're caring and they're thinking of others. Same thing if you come into their home and you look thirsty, even if they don't have like juice or something, they'll go out and buy some juice with like whatever they have and share it with you. They're the nicest people. They're an Asian country, so of course they have a lot of respect to their elders, and they've got a lot of that Asian culture, but they're also third world, so they're very, very humble and very respectful in all they do. They're just the nicest people ever. You don't really get your door slammed in your face ever because they're so nice. You will have people turn you down, and especially in the city, it gets a little bit more, people are a little bit more busy, so they're a little bit more edgy, and they're a little bit more harder to get into the home. But with Filipinos, you almost always get a first appointment. Like when you knock doors, you'll almost always be able to walk in their door. The problem is the second and third time, they are so concerned about your feelings and how you feel. They don't want to turn you down, so they'll either just hide or avoid you and try to like not make contact, rather than tell you up front, like, hey, we're not interested in the gospel right now. They'll just be like, oh, that's cool, but I got to go to my grandma's or whatever. And they'll make excuses. They'll be very polite. So sometimes you have to kind of feel that out and kind of feel where they are, and just kind of understand where they're coming from, because they're too nice to say no. Basically, they're just really happy. That can be a really good thing for missionary work, because sometimes like they're just so like easygoing that when you set appointments, you can go and you can have those appointments and they're great. But sometimes that becomes a bad thing, because then they commit. Like if you ask them like, oh, will you read the Book of Mormon? They'll be like, yes, of course I'll read the Book of Mormon. You're the best. I'll read everything. And then you come back the next day and you're like, so did you read? And they're like, oh, I totally didn't. And they're just committing basically to help please you and to help you feel better about yourself, not because they're actually committed to doing anything, which is very nice and very polite, but also kind of makes it a little bit harder to read them and understand where they're coming from and their point of view. So they're really nice, really good people, but sometimes you just got to work with them and kind of be just straight and be like, hey, look, we know like you're a person, you got feelings. How do you feel about this? And they'll be honest. They're really nice. Like I said, I've literally seen Filipinos like stop what they're doing and come help the missionaries. A lot of times you'll get people who don't even know you out in the countryside, and you'll be walking down a long country lane trying to get to your next appointment. Somebody will pull over, elders, jump in, and you're like, all right. So you get on their little farm tractor or whatever it is they're driving at the time, and you ask them like, so are you a member? Like, how did you know we're elders? And they're like, nah, the elders just taught me once back like 4 years ago, and they were really nice, so I saw you guys walking, and I thought, oh, it's too hot to walk. So, and like they're just super nice that way. So super hospitable in all ways possible.